back. WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We're going to have a good time this week. My health wasn't good for a couple of weeks. I had to push all of my Maryland crab cake tours out. We are finally getting together with the mayor of Baltimore, Brandon Scott, at Coco's on Wednesday. Senator Corey McCray is going to join us. One of my dearest friends in the world, sports cartoonist Mike Resigliano. We're in his neighborhood. So meet us over at Coco's on Wednesday afternoon. And then next Friday, Black Friday, we will be gathering in Abingdon up in Harford County at Conrad's Crabs to have a crab cake, and I'm still working on my guest list for that. We'll be at Pappas on the 3rd, and then the 30th anniversary kicks off at the Beaumont. It is all brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. Let yourself play. So I've been reaching out to friends because I've been on the shelf and had a lot of time to do a lot of thinking about people I wanted to have on and where I'm going to slot this guest and that guest. The Chargers game happened, and I didn't call anybody. Now, we did no preview on the Chargers, and we kicked their ass anyway. So I didn't call anybody in L.A. That was really late up. It was my birthday week. I couldn't move. And I started making the long list, and we got the Bears this week, and I'm thinking, this dude's in L.A., but he's like Mr. Chicago, Illinois. So, and it's been like since pre-Zoom. So you haven't been on a show in like a year and a half, dude, because I haven't looked at your beautiful face. Last time I saw your beautiful face, I think we were at Dodger Stadium with your daughter watching baseball.
That's a while ago. Yeah.
And Mike Harmon is here. He is Fox Sports Radio, I should say, and doing all sorts of things out in L.A., national radio. But like everyone else in Chicagoland, awaiting the Bears to finally be good. I hope this isn't the week, bro.
It's only been 36 years. Why not?
Well, I mean, this kid's playing quarterback, right?
Don't forget Rex Grossman. We had a year.
Well, I was going to give you Jay Cutler even. I'm
a defender of Cutler. I was a defender of Trubisky, right? Because let's call it what it is. People want to have it both ways the last 3 years because they still want to believe in Matt Nagy. Hey, he's taken us to the playoffs 2 or 3 years, yet they wanted Trubisky out on a rail as fast as they could. So I don't think you can have both ways. Either your quarterback was good enough to make your stuff work and was a big part of it, or not. Now we're watching with Justin Fields. Is he the guy you want to shepherd forward? It's the $1 billion question.
So I love having you on because, you're sort of non-denominational. You're out there in L.A. where nobody really gives a crap about anything. I'm coming out for the Super Bowl, so I may be on your couch. I mean, if you give me the right rate, Airbnb Harmon is what I need.
I'm thinking about it, sure.
Yeah, I mean, what I need is a swollen air mattress is what I need, on the floor. So I would just say this, for the Bears fans and what they've seen happen. I'm a Ravens fan, right? We went from Flacco to we're going to draft this kid in the last pick we're going to have an extra year with him. We're going to jettison our Super Bowl winning quarterback. We're going to bring him in. We're going to run an offense that no one in their right mind would ever want to run because it involves your quarterback running into linebackers, which is sort of a fundamentally poor proposition. They not only go in this direction, they completely move everything about the organization from the way they draft to the way they sign to the way they scout, trying to get other teams to play left-handed. And they've had this incredible success, out of the gate with something no one else would dream of taking on because they would be afraid of losing their job if they drafted Lamar Jackson.
Well, I mean, I've always, from the national perspective, looked at it, and I loved it when Harbaugh leaned into it. Amidst the national criticism, I'm sure plenty of talking heads in Baltimore that didn't like the way Lamar Jackson was being used, right? It's like Cam Newton watching him in Carolina. It was a nice little Phoenix resurrection for a couple of scores here in week 10 of the NFL season of 2021, back home and all that stuff. But the idea is if you're going to build an offense, you're building an offense to the player's skill set, right? That's the guy you drafted. So you go and do it and you lean in. And it may mean the shelf life is only 8 years or 10 years, if that, right? Because, we're talking bonus time in an average NFL career. But if you get 8 great years out of Lamar being Lamar, then you've won, right? Cam Newton did it for, 9 years in Carolina at a high rate, carrying the ball 100 times a year, barreling over linebackers at the goal line, all of those things. And then shoulder and what have you. And now we come full circle. And if the shoulder's sound, then who knows? Maybe there's a little bit of a renaissance. But it's hard to say you can regret those 8 years. Likewise in Baltimore, you want to keep seeing the offense expand. but you still need to bring in people to make that work. You're missing Ronnie Stanley. You're missing some of those pieces, yet you're still running the ball effectively. Now, the herky-jerky nature of your season right now has been maddening for me back here in LA. You and I go back a long way. So, not that you adopt a second team. I don't believe in any of that nonsense, but the Ravens would be my second team because I love the style and the way that team has been constructed.
Well, it's been 25 years of interesting football, right? And the last couple of years since you and I got together, traveling with the team, asking the team questions, being around it. They didn't let fans in last year. It's been a quite a whirlwind. But through all of this, there was the thought that, Lamar's going to make you play left-handed every week. These teams gear up. I mean, the Ravens get a different punch. These defensive coordinators create 15 game plans one way, and they all know what they need to do to stop Lamar, and hey, we're going to take the middle of the field away. We're going to make you throw the ball to the outside. Your running backs are no good. Your offensive linemen, we're going to penetrate them. We're going to trap you in a box. We're not going to let you, if you're going to run, you're going to get hit. Well, that's another thing. We're going to hit you out in the open field, and we're going to make you throw the ball up in the air. And the Ravens' defense hasn't taken the ball away. This has been for the Ravens, it's been a defensive problem as much as an offensive problem here because the defense hasn't been very good, very susceptible to the big play. But the thing about Lamar, and you go back to 14-2 2 years ago, Marshall Yanda, Ronnie Stanley earning his $100 million contract, the running game with Mark Ingram and Dobbins last year and Gus Edwards being a part of this the last couple of years. You start taking these pieces out of here and replacing Ronnie Stanley in his prime with Alejandro Villanueva, not in his prime, and Kevin Zeitler, and mix up the offensive line all the way around, and then have the wide receivers drop a few. All of this is conspired to make this thing not smell so good over the last month. They haven't played a lot of good football other than that Chargers game.
Yeah, I mean, the game against the Chargers, right? It was a crowning moment, right? I think nationally, it all of a sudden put the back on the map. Maybe you can make this work, right? Even with all of those issues that you mentioned.
I thought they beat a West Coast team at 10 o'clock in the morning. It looked really familiar to me as an old school football fan.
Yeah, I mean, it was something, right? To watch the Chargers get run over. And the Chargers are back to the same old team that they've been. First couple weeks of the season, thought it was a new era. Everybody was excited. Now it's, all right, what are we doing?
Yeah, the Raiders are going through that too after the way they looked on Sunday night.
Well, I mean, the Raiders are doing what they do every year. Even though Gruden's not there anymore, it's all right, we're at about a midpoint of the season. Bye, we're done. Right? I mean, every year it's been the same thing. A lot of hope, a lot of excitement.
Well, there's no great teams, and I think Kansas City stepping up right now is one thing, but for the Ravens to have laid turd in Miami, 70 minutes with Minnesota, barely eking out a tie that, Pittsburgh got stuck with over the weekend, and then the complete clunker against the Bengals where they got outclassed in their own division, and they haven't played any other division games, dude. 2 against Cleveland, 2 against Pittsburgh. They're all coming up, and it's not like Cleveland and Pittsburgh look good. Dude, if you lose to them now, you don't feel good about yourself.
Right, but that's the AFC at this point. It's every week figure out how to pull it off. So you look at, what has been one of the biggest problems for the Ravens, the deep ball. Well, so it is for the Bears. You know what? You got a guy and receivers that on occasion actually make those plays. For the Bears, occasionally Darnell Mooney pops up on the radar. Otherwise, there's not a deep threat. Allen Robinson runs 8 to 15-yard routes. Cole Kmet finally came off the side of a damn milk carton last week. Like, people have been
the Bears are very anonymous, dude. You start taking Khalil Mack out of there and you're like, all right, who's playing? And this kid at quarterback running around, right?
So this week the hope is, or so they think, that Mack will finally be able to test his foot. They didn't put him on IR. That's been dancing around. Eddie Jackson hasn't played. Remember, they let Kyle Fuller go. He was in purgatory in Denver, and then he becomes a hero for a day. So you've had all these injuries, guys still getting it done up front when healthy, but you're a -4 turnover differential. You're not forcing anything big. Your offense, the run game's been great. 10th rushing attempts and only 16 fewer than the Ravens, 7th best at a 4.6 yard per carry clip. Going back to the opener against the Rams, they ran the ball well with Andy Dalton there, and then they got away from it. It's like, okay, so you made a bad mistake in the red zone. Keep doing that. And then they had 3 big plays that cost them. They've given up 29 pass plays of at least 20 yards. It's just absurd, the level of opportunity that is there. And the run defense has been good in spots. But once again, it's all a matter of sticking with that game plan. And going back to, how often do you walk into training camp and lose your top 2 running backs like that? And now you're looking around going, all right, well, actually 3, right? Because, I mean, not that, you were expecting
Justice Hill as well, too. Yep.
Third, right? But you lose depth chart right there. And it's like, okay, what's on the street? And we know.
Well, Le'Veon Bell and Devontae Freeman were on the street.
But we know how most teams have to carry 4 guys because they don't have a bell count anymore, right? What do we got? 5 or 6 guys that carry the ball 18 times a game in this league. Otherwise, it's mix and match and pieces, and maybe your quarterback runs another 8 to 10 times. No, the Bears are maddening. Matt Nagy is maddening to watch, both with the Chicago hat on or just looking from, 30,000 feet up going week to week. You have no idea what kind of level of effort this squad's going to bring, let alone what the results are.
Well, I hope they're asleep in Chicago this weekend. Mike Harmon is here. He is the Swollen Dome out of Fox Sports Radio out in Los Angeles, California, but a native Chicago win as I go in. So when you do the Chicago experience, I've asked this from Chicago people. I worked there for almost 4 years, turn of the century, spent plenty of time in Northport, As I told, I had Jim Lichtke on from the AP. I said, all I remember about Chicago was traffic, being in a lot of traffic, and my cell phone not working back then. You go back to Chicago, what if I'd landed and met you at Midway and said, I've got an unlimited expense account, let's spend 8 hours together in Chicago, where are we going? What am I doing in Chicago?
Well, you're going to eat a lot, for sure. And then we've got a lot of Irish pubs. I mean, some of the stuff that you've seen in movies just renamed, right? Ocean's 11 and all of those kind of things where you've popped in. You've got a bunch of little clubs to go listen to live music. Where it's at right now, post, in this weird pandemic, endemic, whatever the hell we're calling it anymore. I don't know. But certainly those would be on the menu as you got deeper into the night. Because remember, last call in Chicago was 3:45. So we get a full night.
Well, I ain't having to meet Saturday night. I'll be lucky to be standing up, dude, if I get there. I'm just looking for some pizza and some football. That's all.
Well, I would send you to Rick Benny's, the breaded steak sandwich that you can't get anywhere else.
Whoa. Hold on here. I'm keeping notes here. Okay, go ahead. Say that again.
RICOBENE apostrophe.
RICOBA. What?
RICOBENE apostrophe S. Rickabenny's. It's become famous. Someone did a sandwich blog a while ago, called it the best sandwich in Chicago or in the nation, and then it started to get some buzz in that regard. So it's a breaded steak sandwich, folded up. You get some mozzarella cheese on there, some jardinere, so some hot peppers. Find yourself a Coke.
Dude, I have been to this place. I've been to this place, and I had that sandwich. Yes, I've been to that place. Yes, thank you.
It's uniquely Chicagoan. Like, I can't find anything. It's not something that ships, right?
It's a little weird because it's like a chicken fried steak, but not.
Exactly.
I've had it. I've been there. I looked at the picture and I'm like, I went to this place with my wife. I remember going there and getting this famous sandwich. Yes, it wasn't my shtick. I kind of like. I'm looking for pizza that I haven't heard of, and it doesn't have to be deep dish. Like, I fall in love with
pizza. Okay, go to Pequod's.
I'm a Pequod's guy. That's where I'm going. Pequod's.
So you've been there before. Okay.
I love that. It's the only
family thing. Whenever we go to town, at some point, we have a meetup at Pequod's.
And it's not like Giordano's. It's not deep dish.
Come and mock me.
It's not a casserole. It's different. It's like real pizza, and
Don't go mocking it. Don't go mocking the rest of it. That's a bad idea.
What about the casserole?
No, eventually you have to show up in Chicago. They're not going to take kindly to calling it a casserole.
Where's the place you get real deep dish? Where's the place you go?
Well, I mean, Pequod's does serve. It's got a little thickness to it, but I've got a Gino's East here that they've opened near me now here in LA.
That's your spot.
I've also opened a Portillo's down by Knott's Berry Farm down in Disneyland.
But that's hot dogs, right?
No, I know. I'm kind of grabbing it all, but
I'm just trying to figure it all out. That's all.
Yeah, Gino's East is, I think, the preferred of them for me.
Okay. Well, I
You're
don't
that
have a
person.
preferred
Yeah.
deep dish pizza because it is a little bit like a casserole, and I don't. I'm going to Chicago. I'm not craving it. I'm going to get Pequods because that's what I'm
No,
craving.
but the point is it's ambitious, and if you're bringing a group of people, then you'll take it down. Otherwise, you got a lot of leftovers, and you're trying to figure out what to do with it. Not
Doesn't
that you couldn't
reheat
do that,
so
but you're
good.
you're not staying in town. See, you're not taking down one of those deep dish pizzas. I don't imagine you're a guy with a giant gastronomic capacity.
I'm not. No, I'm not. But I'm going to eat. I do eat, and I love the Greek food when I'm there too. Watch out for that.
Oh, go to Greektown. That's right down by my old high school.
Exactly. And it's right on the fringe of downtown. You get in, you get it right when you're in
But yeah, but you
Chicago.
mentioned traffic. There's no reason to be in traffic. There's public transportation
No,
that
I'm
gets you
staying
anywhere you
downtown.
want
I
to
mean,
go.
I'm going to be fine. I'm talking about when I worked in Northbrook doing the job that you do, national
That's
radio.
fine. There's still stuff that gets you out there, right? Metro would have gotten you there, wouldn't it?
Not the north, not where I was. That was on the end of hell. You made a right turn at the golf course, is what you did, I think. Mike
I'd
Harmon
have
is
to look
here.
at the map. I don't know.
He is a swollen dome. This Chicago thing, like, I got the map out now, and I'm like coming up with stuff. And being a Chicago sports fan, even displaced to LA where you are, it's been kind of a glorious 20 years since I left. I mean, the Bulls were all that were ever there when I left, and since then, Cubs parade, White Sox parade, Blackhawks, 3 parades. And I know the aftermath of the Blackhawks thing's been a stunning
Huge.
sort of scandalous, awful thing. But the Bears are the only ones that don't win.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, think it's a cottage industry, right? 85, you can still get probably 20 to 30 books published every year with somebody with a new story to tell you about what they did back then. Why? Because it keeps selling. But I mean, other than the run with the improbable run of Devin Hester and a defense that scooped everything up and scored, with the offense kind of playing a little role. I mean, the Bears, there have been a bunch of false starts, right? We go back to the NFC title game after letting the Packers into the playoffs in week 17, and the Packers go on to win the Super Bowl. You got that. You go through the White Sox, again, a lot of hope, a lot of young talent. Haven't been able to put it all together just yet. The Cubs, they thought they were going to be dynastic. They had the 1 year. So they break the streak, but this year it all broke up and Joe Madden's now coaching 2 guys down here and managing the Angels, 2 of the best players that we can watch, and they'll never win anything because they have no starting pitching. So you have that. So, it all breaks apart. And the Bulls are interesting this year. The question is how long before anybody cares, right? Because LeVar Ball's not chirping for Lonzo there, right? He's kind of stepped out. So you don't have a mouthpiece. You got a bunch of parts. Zach LaVine's a good player. DeRozan's playing at an MVP level. Nobody cares, right? It's until game 70, then it becomes show me. Why? Because it's the NBA. And as much as we like early season storylines and every other, I mean, think about the NFL. This guy's the MVP week 2. Oh, how about week 3? How about week 4? With the NBA, it's like, wake me on New Year's. Then we'll talk.
Well, hey, dude, I'm going to be waking you a little after New Year's. I'm going to be out in LA for the Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah, boy.
I don't know whether we're going to be masked, unmasked. Got to figure all that out. But I did book my room downtown in LA.
Very good.
So I'm all set up for the first 4 days. And then the next 4 days for the weekend, I got a room down in Costa Mesa. And I figure this is going to be great because I get some good tacos down there and go to Sancho's Tacos, get a little chubby sauce, find you somewhere down there below Redondo and, figure it out. Go to the
chaos, baby.
Well, yeah, I too much chaos up in L.A. So if I'm up there first 4 or 5 days, I'll be SoCal and down in Orange County and ready to get down to Huntington Beach and welcome the boats in off and maybe unload them a little bit.
Yeah, unless one of those big concerts gets announced, because I know you're a concert guy. So
what happens?
Something big would bring you back up.
Sammy Hagar playing Catalina again?
I'm sure he will.
Yeah, I hope so. All right, man. 3 lock box.
Seems like Sammy's here every 3 or 4 weeks anymore.
Good. Well, as long as he's there when I'm there, it's good. I need to see Sammy while my hair's still long.
Nice.
Mike Harmon is here. He is the Swollen Dome. He's out of Fox Sports Radio. He's been doing how many years you been out there with your tag team partner?
Jason and I are finishing year 8.
Congratulations, man. I am.
Thank you.
It'll be 30 for me on December the 13th that Kenny Albert set me forth onto the Baltimore populace. 30 years on December
Wow, that's
13th.
amazing.
So,
Nicely done.
well, I'm eating a lot of crab cakes. That's all I'm saying. And my hair's growing.
The hair's still growing in. It hasn't departed you yet. I mean, you're lean like a greyhound. I mean, that's good.
It's spinal needles. I don't recommend them to anyone. Not even friends.
Okay, I mean, you didn't really have to take it into a deep, dark turn there, Nestor. You could have just said, you know what, I try to watch what I eat.
I'm skinny because I'm standing 18 hours a day because I can't sit down. I walked into the MRI the first day when I'm like crooked like this. I'm like, I walk in, they're like, oh, Mr. Aparicio, I appreciate your insurance. Please have a seat. I'm like, if I could sit down, I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm going to stand next to that post.
Yeah, wow. Sitting has proven to be a challenge. So I don't know if I'm going to get to Chicago this week. If I do, I'll be eating my pizza standing at Pequod's. But Harmon, I love you. I appreciate you, man. And listen,
it's also Chicago. You need to stand with your back against a wall, looking at the front door. I mean, that's Chicago tradition. That way, nothing gets behind you, baby. That way, nothing gets behind you.
Listen, even when I was in Chicago, turn of the century, I didn't mess with any girls. I didn't steal any money. I have no enemies in Chicago. Well, maybe Jay Mariotti, but other than him, I don't. Hey,
Jay's a whole other.
I worked with him, dude.
So I don't know Jay.
I worked with him. Crazy. That's all I'm going to say. But we all know that.
Isn't that a prerequisite for this business to a degree?
I just remember the day I came in, he started screaming at me for something I didn't do. I looked at him, I'm like, drugs or alcohol? I wasn't sure.
Oh, no. Maybe just a bad day.
Maybe I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't know. But I have no enemies. I have no enemies in Chicago. So I'm going to walk in. I'm going to order pizza. I'm going to stand there and order old style beer. So I'm old school.
I like that. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. See?
Get yourself a tall boy and just saddle up.
I had to make things right with you after peeing on your casserole pizza. So I'll be the only guy going to Chicago not getting the deep dish.
Negatively against crab cakes. I mean, it's all good by me.
I
try to make my own, but I got to come out and see Jimmy's and all those
people. Oh, come on out here. We'll take great care of you. You will not eat a tourist crab cake on my watch, brother, all right?
Fair enough.
And we'll upgrade you over what you just said. He is Mike Harmon. We are WNST, AM 1570. We're doing the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. We're going to be upgrading at Coco's on Wednesday, the delicious crab cake that the mayor of Baltimore has said that's his crab cake, so we're going there. Leonard Raskin's crab cake is the Pappas crab cake in Cockeysville. We're going there on December 3rd. So we're going to be crab caking throughout the month of December. Harmon, you get back here east, bro. I've got you handled. You took care of me in L.A. You sent me for perfectly good pizza in Manhattan Beach, so I'll never forget that. Hey, man, I appreciate it. Mike Harmon joining us here for Fox Sports Radio. We're getting ready for the Bears this week. Luke is in Owings Mills. All of it brought to you by our friends at Royal Farms. Real fresh, real fast, and the tasty fried chicken. Cut down on the Western fries, though. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore positive.